Hello everybody, Mr. Natural here. It's Thursday night at 7:30 and we usually transmit live something that I want to teach this time. I wanted to come on and make an announcement today. For the last 3 weeks, we have been very ill around here. There's been a pandemic flu that has been going through San Francisco and has kept all of the hospitals here completely full to the max. 3 weeks ago, I not only got that flu, but I got pneumonia on top of that and wound up in the emergency room. And there was no room in the hospital at all, so I spent 4 days on a gurney in the emergency room. My partner, Angel Linvani, came to visit me, and she also got the flu while she was there at the hospital. So we were so sick that when I got out of the hospital and came back home, I needed to stay in bed, and we were contagious. So we actually closed the school and canceled all of our lessons for a full week. And now this week we've been feeling better and we've been trying to get things back up and running. So that's one of the reasons we haven't been transmitting. Also, every Thursday night when I try to do a broadcast, sometimes some things go wrong. We've had issues here with the internet not functioning, and so our signal goes out in low res instead of high res, so it's hard to read the stuff that's on the board. We don't have good lighting here at all, so I can't get enough brightness to get a good signal across to you all so you can read what's on the board. So it's just amateur city here, and we're doing our very best. What I wanted to announce is that later on this week I'll be also doing a short announcement talking about next Thursday at 7:30. We're here Pacific time. We're on what people call the left coast. We're in the west here in San Francisco. So at 7:30 next week, I am going to be talking about something rather new, rather revolutionary. I guarantee it is a music theory concept that no other teacher anywhere on the internet is doing at all. It's something we've been doing here because we teach by interval and not use the ABC system. It doesn't mean I can't do the ABC system. I can actually do it better than anybody, and I can spell major scales up to 35 different major scales. So what I'm going to do next week is I'm going to show you an amazing revolutionary way of memorizing the key signatures for up to 14 flats and 14 sharps. Now why? Because there are double sharps and double flats that come up even with the keys that are on the piano. For instance, G sharp actually has 8 sharps. And though the system only goes up to 7 sharps with most key signatures, if you want to play in G sharp and spell everything correctly, you've got to use 8 sharps. So that means that the first F sharp needs to be doubled and turned into a double F sharp in order to write the G sharp correctly. Also, E flat is something that most people know, but you'll never see anyone ever write a key signature in D sharp because D sharp has 9 sharps, which require having your 7 sharps plus 2. The F and the C need to be double sharp. So you have to have an F double sharp and a C double sharp in order to spell those scales correctly. And another key that is often overlooked on the piano, everyone knows B flat, which just has 2 flats, but if you subtract that from 12, you subtract the 2 from 12, you wind up with 10. And it turns out there are 10 sharps in the enharmonic, which is A sharp. So G sharp, D sharp, and A sharp do exist on the piano, and because the system that's being taught only goes up to 7 sharps and up to 7 flats, no one has ever written anything for those keys in those key signatures. However, legally, according to music theory, since it is perfect and does not necessarily have to have any correlation to reality, a system that is perfect, like mathematics, for instance, I don't know if people know this, but if you're a mathematician, about 80% of everything that you study has no correlation to reality in terms of physics. And yet physicists who use a heck of a lot of math all of the math used for physics for describing reality is less than 20% of mathematics in general. So a mathematician would probably find a simpler way, you're drawing a simple graph or something, to explain some of these things that a physicist would use pages and pages and pages and pages of math to describe. And reality is not confined by reality alone, that some theories, such as mathematics, are capable of great abstractions, and they do not necessarily, if you follow their rules, they do not necessarily have to have a real correlation in reality. Well, that is true for music theory as well. So it is possible to have double sharps, and theoretically you can go through all 7 sharps and sharpen all of them so that you can have up to 7 double sharps or 14 sharps. And memorizing those key signatures is something that no one is really taught. Now, in my last couple lectures, I did explain how the sharps and flats on the key signature work, and it's fairly complicated. Going up 5 and down 4 for sharps, going down 5 and up 4 for flats gets a little complicated. And as I showed in those lectures, you can pretty much lay them, you do not have to lay them out the way that they have been traditionally laid out, because if the clef is put on a different line or different space than they're usually used, that arrangement would have to change, and you would have to use that rule to figure out where to put them. However, if you go further than 7 sharps or further than 7 flats, you again need to use those rules to be able to start doing these double sharps and double flats correctly. Music theory will allow you to go up to 14 sharps, and it will allow you to go up to 14 flats, and then the entire system, when you start getting triple sharps and triple flats, starts to reset back to ordinary C. So what I'm going to do next week is I'm going to show you a method that I've been using for years now to explain to people a simple way of being able to memorize all of the sharp keys up to 14 sharps and all of the flat keys up to 14 flats. It's very, very simple. It's very easy to do, and I guarantee you this place here, me and our music school, is the only one anywhere in this country that teaches this concept. So please come along next Thursday at 7:30 California time and watch that episode, and you will see something that's amazing and revolutionary that is not taught by any other teacher anywhere on the internet until I teach it next week. I'm sure after I teach it next week, hopefully some of the teachers out there will see what I'm doing and realize that there are simpler and easier ways to learn some of this stuff. So please, I'd like to say good night to you at the moment, and please be looking forward to seeing you next Thursday. Further on in the week, I will give a short announcement that we're doing Thursday again, and we'll be back on track doing live lessons every Thursday night, either weekly or semi-weekly. Sometimes I just get too busy to do the Thursday night. So, all the best to everybody out there. Hang on to your hats. Next week, we're going to show you a revolutionary way of memorizing key signatures beyond what the ordinary staff uses, beyond what anyone else teaches, and I'll show you something so simple it will absolutely amaze you, and I guarantee there is not one teacher on the planet Earth that is teaching what I'm going to teach next week. So please join us then. Night-night.